this video, we're going to be answering people's questions and adding even more value to the community. So I'm looking forward to hear your comments, and why not press like if you get value from the video.
Okay, go for it.
If you are a renter,
Yes.
and you have a property right now that's doing okay,
Yep.
would you speak to the landlord asking for a a rent-free period or a rent reduction? I'm thinking about the next few months. If anything goes wrong, would you ask for that right now, even though everything is okay?
So this is where I'd start. So Remy's asked a powerful question for those of you. Hopefully you can all hear Remy. Remy's asked, if you're a renter and you have properties that currently are doing okay, would you basically go and reach out to the landlord to ask for some kind of provision, some kind of delayed rent or some kind of reduced rent because of what potentially could happen in the future? Now, is that a good summary of your question, Remy?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, let me ask you a couple of questions, Remy, to help you with this, yeah? So the first question I have for you is, do you actually foresee there being a problem in the near future with the specific rent-to-rent?
Potentially, yes.
Okay, and what?
We've had a good conversation with all the tenants, and luckily they're quite responsible. That they're open, they're working from home, and they have no intention of not paying.
Okay.
But in terms of what might happen in the future, maybe something changes. I'm trying to understand if we should be making some kind of arrangement now and what that should be.
Okay, perfect. So this is what I'd say to you. If you listened to a moment ago, I was explaining that Dan Hill says nothing should be arbitrary. Okay, so when you've looked at that deal originally before actually going into that rent-to-rent deal, you should have ran your numbers and made sure that your numbers stack up to give you obviously a reasonable return on investment. Now, for different people, that's going to be different things. Different people have different thresholds for what their return on investment figure is, how much they want to make, etc., etc., and why they want to make that amount. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because those are the things that come into play now when you're in this kind of economic challenge. And by economic challenge, or by those are the things that come into play now, what I mean is now's the time that, yes, you should be having a conversation with the landlord, but the conversation doesn't necessarily just have to be, hi landlord, we're envisaging there to be problems as a direct byproduct. Can we get our money off? Okay. Now, what you have to remember is there's a few things taking place right now. So one of those things is the government are proposing subsidies for landlords. Okay. Now, one thing you have to also bear in mind with that is not every landlord is taking those subsidies. And if I even go further, I'll say not every landlord is necessarily aware of those subsidies. Now, the reason I'm saying that to you is because what I want you to be aware of is, if you're a renter, my advice to you right now is you want to be the go-to person. You want to establish yourself as the expert. So what does it mean to be an expert? You need to be the person giving the information, okay? You obviously, in order to give accurate information, you first have to be the person getting the information. And this is why it's amazing, and it's good for you to be on this live stream right now and to be checking out maybe the webinar tomorrow, but any places where you can get more and more information, so you know that when you're approaching the landlord, when you're approaching a tenant, you're approaching them with the right information in order to help them move forward. Now, because you've got that right information and you're helping those people move forward, you can obviously also, which is what we're doing on the live stream, strategize to have a plan before you engage in those conversations. Now, what most people do is they're going to do what everyone would have done last week, which is why the live Q&A last week. What most people do is most people just point to the landlord, look, we need to go 3 months without paying rent because the government said that. Okay, and that's not what you want to do. What you want to do is have a critical conversation around your numbers. And if I was you, Remy, because I've worked with you before on a coaching capacity, one of the things I would do if I was you, Remy, is the conversation I'd have with the landlord would rotate around what you need if certain eventualities happen. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is, don't just have a blanket conversation for yourself, Remy. And again, I'm only saying this to Remy. Those of you who are watching, this might not apply to you, but it applies to Remy because I know a little bit more about Remy's business, because Remy's been one of our coaching clients. But what I'd say to you, Remy, is you need to have a conversation with the landlord, not just, oh, Mr. Landlord, we need the money off for the next 3 months. What you need to do is put in a plan that relates to your business, your organization, and your scenario. So what that means is, if you've identified 3 or 4 out of 5 tenants in that house who potentially, because of the nature of their work, will be the 3 or 4 tenants who will first say to you, look, they're not getting any income, then the conversation you need to have with the landlord is, you know, Mr. Landlord, right now things are fine, but we assume because of the nature of the work of 2 or 3 of the clients in the house that we may have an issue. And if we do have an issue, the first issue we can observe happening may be a hit by 60% of the income that's coming into the property. Now, yeah, what I'd say to you, Remy, is this: the big mistake a lot of people make is a lot of people follow the trends and they follow herds. You know, I did a video on our YouTube channel called Obstacles and Opportunities in Property, and in that video, that's one of the things I talk about. People just follow herds. They just say, okay, the government said 3 months, so in 3 months all of this is going to be sorted. Guys, what if this went on for 9 months? Okay, I think a good question, guys, please comment in the comment box on YouTube. If this went on for 9 months, would your business be able to withstand this? Would your business be able to handle and work through this? Okay. And the reason I'm saying this to you, Remy, and to you guys who are viewing on YouTube, no, it's not to frighten you. It's not to make you afraid. It's to actually help you prepare, because that's what strategy in the storm's about. If you are really trying to put strategy together, you need to be aware of different eventualities. Okay. So the reason I'm sharing that with you, Remy, is because if this went on for 9 months and you had tentatively, periodically created some kind of plan with the landlord, this will make it easier for you to actually manage throughout the process. And again, you have to think, let's say your initial plan is, okay, we get hit by 60% of the income, so we only pay 60% of the rent, for example. Then if in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, something else happens, like you get hit by 100% of the income, it makes it an easier conversation to now have with the landlord that, look, we want to basically, we've been hit by 100% of the income not coming in. We'd actually like to put it to a position where we're not paying any rent. But you can't do that tentatively if you're having the conversation with your landlord out of fear and out of, oh, the government said this, so I'm just doing this. Does that make sense, Remy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's really interesting, and actually the whole idea that it could go on for much longer, it helps to know what not to say. So thank you.
Excellent. You're welcome, and thank you for calling in. As an added caveat to Remy's question, be open to hearing your landlords, be open to hearing the sellers you're working with, the people you're working with, so you can get some more insight in terms of how to work with them. All right, brilliant. So
I'm really interested in finding out how you've actually found the value that we've shared on this particular video. So what I'd like to invite you to do is write a comment in the comments below and let us know what was kind of your key takeaway from this particular video. Side by side with that, why not hit subscribe and become a part of our channel and keep up to date with every single video that we drop, as well as the live streams, so that basically you can get your questions answered as well in those actual sessions. Now, last but not least, I'm going to encourage you to go and watch this video here, where we're going to basically help you move forward in your property journey, or this video right here, where we're going to be sharing with you even more insights as it pertains to property. This is Sammy I Can Win. I'm signing out. Have a great day.